Everybody, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's go ahead and get into Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 14. It's just a blip. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns on various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. So, if you enjoy that type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed tonight's content, and then hop into the comment section, y'all. Let's talk about these awful couples. All right. So, as I mentioned in the last video with Elijah and Katina, these episodes, my notes are all over the place because you guys know I do couple by couple. So when they're all together in one place, it makes taking the notes a little more difficult. But we're going to get through it, y'all. We're going to talk Steve and Noi. So let me find my notes for Steve and Noi. All right. So Steve and Noi, on the way to the retreat. You know, tonight is the couples retreat, where it's the time for us to refresh, regroup, solidify if we're gonna stay together. Like, this is really like kind of like the determining trip. So they're in the car, and Steve asks if Noi needs something additional from him before decision day, and she doesn't mention anything. And then he said he thinks that they need to come to an agreement about her posting on social media, because that's something that Steve needs. Steve is kind of telling her how some of the things that she's been posting can be perceived by others as being about their relationship, and how that affects him because, you know, then it starts to bring a lot of things into question, and what happens in our marriage should really stay within our marriage, right? So Noi said, I keep telling you it wasn't even really about you. Then she said, not everything is about you. I said, oh, you being real spicy. You being real sassy for no reason. So then she said, I have other relationships with people. I'm sorry, but if you are posting that you deserve better for yourself in regards to a friendship, girl, if you don't get rid of that friend and find a new one, you were talking about your marriage. And I think it's very immature of Noi to constantly sit here and try to gaslight Steve into making it seem as if she wasn't posting about him, when, like Steve said, well, we had just had an argument, okay, and then you posted that. Like, my whole thing is, Noi, be the adult that you claim to be and just be real with him. Yes, Steve, I was mad at you about what we talked about that day because you said you didn't want to get a job. So I did post that I deserve better because I think I do deserve to be with somebody that actually wants to work. That's really all you have to say. Now, whether Steve agrees with that or not is his decision, but I think it's tacky for you to run to social media and do that. It's the same way when couples are on like a break because they've gotten into it, and then they start posting different memes about, like, about being single and wanting more, and then the next week they're back together. Don't do it. Don't invite other people, outside people, into your relationship. Just don't, right? So Steve said, okay, so let's talk about what I'm hearing, okay? Because Steve is emotionally very mature. Steve says, so you are unwilling to make adjustments about the privacy in our relationship. I said, come on, Steve. Because he phrased it perfectly. Noi's childish self would say, and I think you're unwilling to make an adjustment about my freedom to post whatever I want to in my self expression. Girl, bye. This is not about you wanting to post that you a bad bitch, okay? This is not about you wanting to post your political affiliation, or you wanting to post that you are one of the people that enjoys shit, I don't know, living single over friends, or friends over living single. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what that is about. This is about you taking your marital issues and refusing to talk to your spouse about them. You insist on running to social media. Your spouse has an issue with that, and instead of you taking into account his feelings about that, you want to dig your heels in and be a little bitch about it and make it seem as if he is trying to infringe on your freedom of speech. Girl, bye. I cannot believe Noe. So then we get this montage of them talking in circles around each other, and Steve making complete and perfect sense, and Noy being completely unwilling to listen to anything he has to say. So Steve said, well, I just gather that we will continue to have a problem within our relationship. She said, no, you will have a problem. He said, no, we will have a problem within our marriage. He said, it is a problem that is hurting him, and in turn is going to hurt their marriage because it will remain unsolved. I am baffled. I just kind of feel like, Steve, if she's unwilling to stop doing something as simple as posting about y'all marital issues on social media, this is not the marriage for you, because Noe is not mature enough to be married yet. She's just not. I ain't never seen nobody fight to the depths about a fucking Instagram post. It's not even like Noy is a blogger. You know what I mean? It's one thing if Noy is a podcaster, or Noy is a YouTuber, or Noy is like she's a influencer to where she has all these followers, and she, shares all these pertinent details about her life that she kind of feels compelled to spill. Girl, you posting to your what, 500 followers before you get on the show, and it might go up to, I give you maybe a 25K. But let's be real, Noy, you were doing this because you're trying to hurt him. It's not about you wanting to have your freedom of speech. It's not about you wanting to have self-expression. It's about you just wanting to hurt Steve. You know that this is something that bothers him, and you're bothered by the fact that you're bothered by the fact that he is not being very plain and clear with you about his finances. So once they get to the house, the men are all in there cooking, and y'all know Steve cooks, okay? Steve said, we're gonna make some spaghetti, we're gonna make some Alfredo. We got some things popping. So Steve is talking to the guys about the social media issues and how he doesn't see a middle ground with it. He does not want her to post their marital issues on social media. Very simple ask. She in turn wants to keep posting. Elijah once said that maybe she just does not realize how strong he feels about it. Steve said, no, I have told her. Steve said there's no if, and, or buts about it. We have had this conversation. She's just unwilling to change. So then Steve talks about how he cooks 5 days a week, but Noy still feels like he should be doing more. So he's just kind of worried that he's not going to be able to get through to her by decision day, because there's less than 2 weeks left. And if they can't come to a middle ground on something as simple as social media, they are going to have way bigger issues and way bigger problems later on in their marriage. Meanwhile, Noy's out in the hot tub, and all the women are talking and kind of venting like they typically do. And when they ask her how everything is going, she was like, everything's going good. It's great. I said, not you lying. Not you being a liar. Okay. So they have a group dinner. And they are going around, and everyone's doing all the typical, so what do you think you guys could work on before, the production planet questions. And Steve kind of defaults to Noy about like if she wants to answer, and Noy says she doesn't want to talk about her marriage. That was her answer. Now see, Noy, that right there tells everybody that y'all are having issues. I like that is kind of a dead giveaway that y'all ain't really doing the best right now. There is something that's going on. Steve said, I just think it's strange, okay? Steve said it's strange that you can talk about issues on social media in the public, but you can't do it here with people that we know. I said, y'all, I highly blurred, okay? Because, and I was like, get him, Steve, get into it. Get into it, because I feel like that's real, because Noi is a person who lacks basic communication skills as well. Noi is not able to really articulate herself well. She has probably always used her default as running to social media, posting something, hoping that that person saw that sub and that it'll just kind of be resolved in that way, which is what a lot of people like to do. A lot of people like to, instead of like really addressing the issue, a lot of people like to try to ignore it and kind of run away from it and hope that it'll just go away. So Noi was like, no, I don't want to talk about it right now. So like everybody at the table was kind of like, because that's what I would have been. That's what I would have did. Later on in bed, Steve asked her, "Are you ready now to talk about our issues?" Noi said that dinner was not an appropriate time to discuss marital issues between the two of us, and that she was not going to talk about it on a trip with other couples. Steve then asked her, he doesn't want to go to bed angry. So he reminds her, he's like, well, the trip is just like a retreat for us. It's not just like a chillax vacation. We are here for the purpose of like getting more in tune, working out these issues, working out these kinks that we have within our relationship. And she doesn't want to do it because I feel like Noise is kind of like, what was old girl from last season that Zach was messing with? I do not remember none of them people's names. Um, it'll come to me later, where she didn't want to talk about like their relationship either on TV. She didn't want to talk about certain aspects of it. And I feel like that's Noi. And I think it's because Noi knows that she has a lot of effed up views about things and maybe she doesn't want to be judged. Or maybe Noi just does not know how to articulate herself in a, like in honest and open communication. That could just be it. So he asked her to come cuddle with him because he doesn't want to go to bed on a bad note. And she like low key doesn't even want to do that because she's mad that he kind of embarrassed her basically. So the next morning they go for their little date within the retreat. They go to some park that is kind of like an amusement park type vibe. So there's this big slide. They go on like a sky glider. They do the slide. They do like a stationary bungee jump. They do one of those slides or one of those rides, I should say, where you're like strapped in and you're just gliding through the air. I could never. I'm too old for roller coasters now. It's too many roller coasters, too many rides where people are getting stuck upside down. People are unfortunately passing away. I can't do it. But Noy says that she's adventurous, but then she be scared to do stuff. Girl, which one is it? Which one is it? Are you adventurous or not? So after that, they go to the side and they're talking. And Steve brings up that he wants to discuss their main issue. Noy says that they have so much tension about what is going on still, and she does not want to tell that to the other women. So I think Noy is one of those people that she wants to come across as if they have like the picture perfect marriage, and she doesn't want to be vulnerable, not only with him clearly, but not with the other women either. So Steve asked, how is that fair? That you can bring up and you can say whatever it is you want to about whatever you want to on social media, but when he wants to talk about something, when he wants to bring something up, you aren't okay with doing it. You don't want to do it. He said, so now so then she was like, you did talk about it though. You brought it up. Like being a little smart ass again. So Steve tells her he wants to set some boundaries on what they are going to share outside of their marriage. Again, a very mature thing to do. Noise reaction, y'all, is we still need to find out we still need to get to a place where we trust each other. I want to talk about us setting boundaries on what we talk about within our marriage outside of the two of us. We got to work on what we trust about each other first. Am I the only one? I can't be the only one. So later they have the later we play them, or they play they do a field day where Jasmina and Michael set up this little field day. They do flip cup. Of course, Steve know how to do flip cup. They do kickball, they do dodgeball. He throws the shit out of a ball, and the way Katina fell was ridiculous, girl. You were not hit that hard. You were not. They do like the little most likely game. Noi gets most likely to have cosmetic surgery. Yada yada yada. The next morning at breakfast, we see Noi and Steve in the little leopard outfits that he bought for their 1 month anniversary. I said, okay, Steve, with the leopard print and I said, okay, Steve, with the leopard print and then the little gold chain over it. Steve be swaggy in his own little way. And then Jasmina kind of asked them, do they feel pressure to stay together because they are looked at as the paradox couple? And Noy said that they still have some trust issues that they are working out, but they don't feel pressured to stay together at all because of that. You know what I mean? And then Steve said, well, yeah, I mean, I trust her. I trust her not to, steal my stuff in the middle of the night. Okay. He said, but as far as like trusting her with emotions and my heart and secrets, I don't know if I have that trust yet. And you can tell that Noi was like low key offended by that. And I'm like, girl, you shouldn't be. Why would he trust you? Steve might tell you something super personal. You just gonna run to social media and post it. So why would he trust you about certain things when he can't trust you to not even post a sub against him? Bye. Bye. So on their drive home, let me scroll back up to that section. So on their drive home, Steve wants to talk about the living arrangement situation. Remember a couple episodes ago, Noi said that she does not want to live with him after decision day right away. She wants to live apart for a little bit of time. Noi said that there's a process. And a part of that process is saying goodbye to your single life. Steve said it sounds like you want to keep living your single life. And Noi was like, no. She said that when she's in a relationship, she lives so much for her partner, and her studio apartment that she lives in is one of the first things that she ever bought herself and did for herself when she got to Boston. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call bullshit on this, Noi. I'm going to call bullshit. Because if you were worried about not losing yourself and worrying about you giving too much to your partner and when you're in a relationship, then you shouldn't have brought your ass on the show called Married at First Sight. This really comes down to you being mad that he does not like your social media posts, you feel in a way that he does not work a conventional 9 to 5 job, and if he doesn't work a conventional 9 to 5 job, the fact that he is not willing to budge and tell you about your finances. I think a big part of that, two, it's just Noi just being immature. So Steve said, well, now I'm wondering if you even want to be married to me. And she's sitting up in the car crying. I have absolutely no sympathy for Noi. Absolutely no sympathy for Noi. Girl, if you can't be honest about what is going on and how you really feel about this man, I suggest you say no on decision day and stop wasting his time. Because Steve knows what he wants. Even though, a lot of us don't agree with Steve's like the way that Steve is going about talking about his finances, he knows what he wants to do. He is very secure in how he wants to live his life. Noi has said that Steve needs to change how he lives his life and kind of adjust that to how he's going to live it as how he wants to live it as a married man. Noi, you need to do the same thing. You can't expect Steve to make all these adjustments and exceptions for you when you're not willing to do the same thing in turn for him. Because Steve is not asking a lot from you at all. He wants you to clean up after yourself, clean up a bathroom or two sometimes, and maybe get up in the kitchen and cook his noodles correctly. He's not asking a lot from you. He wants you to stop posting on social media, and you just can't do it. So let me know how you guys felt about Noi and Steve, and I will catch you guys in the next one.